Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Monica Reagor of My GRC POV, and I'm super excited. I told you guys we're back behind all the scenes. We're going to get a couple of interviews. And so right now I have an amazing individual. Her name is Lisa Norris. She is a member of NABCRMP, and she has been fantastic, just instrumental in just all that we do in compliance, and super excited to take a few minutes of her time before we get to our next breakout session. Just ask her a few questions. So welcome, Lisa. I'm so happy to have you. All right. So let's jump right in. First question I have for you. How has NABCRMP influenced your career growth or your perspective on compliance and risk management as a professional, as a person of color in this space?
It's really changed my perspective because it gave me it opened a door, and it gave me an opportunity to see that there's more people of color and a lot of variety. When I started in the healthcare field, it wasn't a lot of people of color, it wasn't a lot of women. So now I feel like I have a community. I feel like there's some place that I can go to. I can relate on issues and talk to people about different challenges I'm facing, not only in the compliance industry, but as a compliance professional and a woman of color in the industry.
Totally perfect, because I believe oftentimes there's like compliance transcends over so many industries, and oftentimes it's already compliance is like the small group, and then women in compliance is a smaller group, and then people of color in compliance is there anything left? So, and so NABCRMP has given us a space where we can have community. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. So my next question to you, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing compliance and risk professionals today? And what are some of your ideas of how to address those?
I think the biggest challenge is that there's not a lot of companies that still, even though compliance has been around for years, they still don't understand the severity of it, and they don't take it to enough to accountability to put more budget towards compliance professionals. A lot of times you're juggling a lot of hats. You have to not only just run the compliance aspect of it, the risk management side, the auditing side, and it's all just throw it on compliance. They don't understand that each space or compliance has so many different hats, and it's important that each one has its own equal budget, each one has its own equal need, and pays attention to that in order to be successful in the programs.
Absolutely. I totally agree. One of the biggest things that we actually see oftentimes that we complain about, and it's not even a complaint, but it's really just the need, is the budget, right? And it's like each of those areas, like you talked about, each has their own budget, right? Auditing is one, policy management is another. It's all full-time jobs, and they all give it to compliance and expect us to be miracle workers. I think because we are, but that's just me, right? All right. So really quickly, we're almost done because we're going to get back to the breakout sessions, but really about the future, right? As we look ahead, what changes or opportunities do you believe that the industry must really embrace to ensure that we have greater equity, that there's accountability and inclusion?
I think it's going to start in with us as compliance professionals. I think we need to like our voice be known more. A lot of times as compliance officers, we wait a lot around for the regulations to happen or come out, and they're not coming. They're not going to come fast enough that we need it. So we always have to take this proactive approach. And I think that it's up to us to say, even though this is what the rule or the regulation says, let's take it 10 steps ahead. Let's be proactive and take approach, because we need to look ahead in the future and then start developing the stuff ourselves and creating those marks for it, because that's the only way change is going to come. We have to be the ones to actually set the mark and do it.
I agree. And then just a follow-up question to that, how do we become more proactive? Because like in cybersecurity for myself, there's always new regulations coming in every day. You're in healthcare. What are your thoughts on that? Like what's one of maybe a tip or two of how we can stay proactive?
You have to anticipate the need. So a lot of times what I do is I sit in on our strategic planning sessions to see what the organization's goals are. And then I try to think in the future, where is the company trying to go in the next 4 or 5 years? And then I start really planning and thinking about how is the industry going to shape. I look at GDPR regulations and things of that nature, and where the industry is shifting. And then I try to be proactive to that and see what can I do that's going to be innovative, that's going to be different, that's going to challenge us to push us to the next level. And sometimes it is going to be scary for a lot of people in the industry to go down those routes, because they're like, oh, it's not here yet. You're being, you're overreacting. But I'd rather overreact and be proactive and make sure that we're solid and we have a solid foundation before it hits the fan.
Absolutely. That really brings me to my final point, and that is our keynote speaker this morning, Valerie Workman. She really talked about just say what you have to say, because it is our responsibility to just say what needs to be said, and then it's up to them to decide if they want to move it forward. And so to that point, Lisa, thank you so much for taking a minute out of your day at the conference to share your insight. You're such a huge influencer, and you gave so much impact and just wisdom and nuggets into this space. As an honor to serve with you, and then best of luck to you in your career. But y'all know she's going to be on this podcast, right? Okay. Anyway, guys, this is Monica Reagor from My GRC POV, and I'm super excited that you're hanging out with me. But until next time, talk to you guys later.